All right, so last we left off, we realized that creating and updating a total, this method doesn't actually work, or yeah, this method here, it doesn't work as well as we thought because it's always concatenating the distance of the activity and adding it into the total. And the problem is if you update an activity and actually reduce the distance, it just adds that number to an existing total record. So I've given this some thought, and I'm realizing that we actually probably want to add a new column to the activity table, and that should probably be something like distance in miles because we're converting the distance twice. So when we're calculating pace, we're getting minutes and miles. So we have to calculate the pace, the distance first into miles, and then we need that information to get the pace or to calculate the pace, and then we're also doing the same thing for this method right here. We're converting the distance, and at that point we might as well just make that a new column and create a callback to do that for us. So I'm gonna open up my terminal and do Rails generate migration, add distance in miles to activities, and I'm going to call it distance in miles and set it to decimal. And I think I'll actually do the precision and I think it's the range or the scale. So I'll do 5 and 2 here. And I'm going to go ahead and run this migration. And let's just check this out real quick. So we're adding the distance in miles to the activities table. It's decimal with a precision of 5 and a scale of 2. So that looks good. I'm going to run Rails db migrate. And that ran. And what I'm actually going to do is in my activities fixture, I'm just going to go ahead and add this to pretty much all of my fixtures here. So distance in miles, I'll just do random that, and this will just keep things consistent here. So distance in miles, okay, so that's there. And I think I also want to, that should be good for now. Now let's go into our activity model here, and let's just do, we want to add a before save called calculate distance in miles, and this doesn't exist yet. Probably put it above calculate pace, and we can just reuse some code here. So we can do, well actually we can just do this because this is pretty much doing that. So let's go up here, paste that in. So we need a unit. We also need to make sure we have some of these values here. So we need a unit and we need a distance, but we don't necessarily need duration because that is for calculating pace. So let's end that. And then we're just basically going like if the unit's miles. But then what we can do is instead of doing converted distance, we can do self dot distance in miles, and that should take care of that. Okay, so now we have calculate distance in miles. So what we can really do is, I think we can, so I'm going to kind of refactor a few things here. So now in calculate pace, we just need, we can replace distance with distance in miles. And then what we can do is, I think any instance of self.distance we can just replace with, or okay, so hold on a second. So self.duration, self.distance we can do, oh, and actually, you know what, that should say self.distance in miles. And then for the calculated pace, it'd be duration divided by self.distance in miles if it's miles. Let's just get rid of this. And we have a test for this. So if distance in miles is present, because the distance in miles, yeah. So I think we can just do this. And actually we can even just probably put that as one line. So that's there. Calculate distance in miles. Alright, let's do a quick test here. So I know if we go to activity, the activity test file, there should be, so it should calculate pace, line 11. No, and this is actually our system test. Let's just go to our model test. Okay, so this is good because we're not setting anything with calculated or distance in miles here. So this is good. So this will actually, it should call both callbacks, but let's just see what happens. So I'll clear this out. Rails, test, models, activity. What line was this? 45. Okay, so these are a little off, but I think it might be because of my test. So I think that works. So these might be failing for the wrong reason. So we have distance, duration, and then pace. Instead of it being converted distance, it should probably just be the activity dot distance in miles. Let's give this a shot. Okay, so that worked. Let's actually just run this whole test right here. Okay, so now we're back to our original failure, which is that. So I think what we can do here is, let's go back to activity. That was kind of a long way to sort of refactor some stuff. So now that we have this right here, this is going to get saved to our database. So every activity is now going to have a column with distance in miles. So what we can do is, so we don't need to convert the distance, that's for sure. So we can actually get rid of this, right? We actually don't even need it. So what I really want to do here is I want to get this total, and then what I want to do is just get all the activities between the end of the week and the start of the week, and then just add up the distance in miles and the duration. So I don't actually need to do it this way. So let's actually just, let's get rid of this right here. Although I'm going to keep these two things. And actually I should say, I found a better way to do this. There's actually a method in Rails. It's a Rails helper. And conveniently enough, it's called beginning of week. So I'll get to that in a minute, but I'll keep this here for now. I don't want to change too much at once. So I think if we just do activity dot where the date, or I should say, sorry, the date is greater than or equal to starting on. So we need to find all activities where the date is greater than that, but it also needs to be, the date needs to be less than or equal to, I think it would be, so we want to get like the end of the week basically, which would be, is there an end of week? End of, I don't know if there's an end of week. Ah, okay, cool, end of week. So this is good. I think we can just do starting on dot end of week. So this starting on right here basically gets the beginning of the week, like we determined before. So it's always going to be like Monday of some week, and then this will be, if you call the end of week method on a date, it'll just get the end of week. So what we're doing here is finding all the activities at the beginning of the week and at the end of the week. But we also want to, I want to see if I can actually probably do this in a couple lines to make it cleaner. I think I can do this. This should be fine. So activity where the date is greater than or equal to starting on, where it's less than or equal to end of the week, and then where the user ID is self.user ID, and I might actually just be able to do maybe even user. And then what I can do from here is just do some total distance. I want to get distance in miles. I think I want to just, okay, so I can do dot count. I think I can just do distance in miles. And I think we can do, you know what we should actually just do, let's just set this to activities. I'll make that one line for now. So then we can just do activities and then get the distance in miles. And then we should be able to do the same thing but do duration here. And I'll just do, I guess just to be safe, unless activities is empty, if this for whatever reason doesn't return anything. So this is just a more efficient way of actually getting all of it, totaling up everything. I was doing it manually, so let's clear this out. Rails T test models activity test. Okay, so we get some failures here. Okay, so it does have to do with the other ones we just did. So I'm going to drop a by bug in here, and we'll just run this particular test. So let's just see if we even get any activities. Activities.count. Interesting, so we just get one. Oh, and I wonder if it's because we're in the first part of the loop. Let me get rid of that, because we're looping through this 7 times, and that's just doing it. That's dropping in at the first time. So let's actually go into here and just let's do another by bug. Clear that out. Let's run the test again. All right, so now we have, let's just do user.activities.count. Okay, so they have 7 activities. Let's just do .all.pluck distance in miles. Okay, so that's all returning 10. So this is getting saved, which is good. Duration, okay, so that's all getting saved. Okay, so now what does total equal? Total dot distance. Oh, we haven't gotten to that part yet. So let's see here. Total, and actually, I want to make sure there's only one total being created, so. Okay, so that's good. Oh, you know what I think it was? I think I need to check on this. Maybe this query is the problem here. So let's just do, I'm going to copy this in here. I think I just replace this with user. So if I do dot count, okay, so I get 7, which is good. What happens if I just do, actually let me just save that, and then activities Distance in miles. Oh, you know what? I think is it just counting up how many? Oh, okay. So dot count isn't taking the value from this column and adding. It's just counting how many have a duration. Is that right? Okay, so I think I want sum. Let's just do this in the console real quick. Okay, so this is good. If we do sum, this might be a decimal, but that's okay. That's weird. That still comes out to that number, but let's just give this a shot. We'll sum that up. Let's go back to our test real quick. Get rid of that by bug. Let's just run this test. Okay, cool. It passed. So let's see here. We have all this. Let's just actually see if this test works here. Or sorry, 137. Because this was like revealed the problem with our code. Cool. I'm gonna actually save it here. This is getting kind of long. So git add a, git commit, and we'll just say refactor how weekly mileage is calculated. Gonna make sure that bad boy is spelled right. And then I'll just say in here like add distance in miles column to activities table. Okay, and we will push that up, and we'll continue to refactor some of this code in the next one.